Yo, what's cracking everyone? Ericship 111 here. So with update 25 just around the corner for Forza Horizon 4, this series has been met with many criticism from the community. As we know, the theme is a throwback to Forza Horizon 3 and Australia. However, to be fair, as much as I love seeing Australian cars return to Horizon 4, it's very lackluster. You see, the cars that are being brought back are rehashed vehicles from past Forza games, and to have 3 is not very good to say the least. Remember, the highlight of each monthly updates are the cars, no matter what anyone says, and yes, I know these are free updates, but bringing cars that really had no reason to disappear in the first place doesn't really count as a proper update. To me, a good update is when we get more than a handful of new cars, rehashed or not, including a new car that's never been in the franchise before. So in today's video, let's say the creative director of Playground Games said to me, "Alright Eric, update 25 will be themed around Australia. Pick the cars you think will showcase your home country well, while not leaving the community disappointed as Australian cars aren't appreciated enough around the world. While keeping the 3 cars we already have for update 25, here are my choices, starting off with number 1, the 1992 Ford Falcon EB GT. Talk about iconic Australian cars that has been left out. How was this not even a choice to be brought even as the 4th car for update 25? Introduced as a DLC back in Horizon 3, the EB GT was shaped by its V8 supercar racing counterpart, hence why the saloon was fitted with such an aggressive body kit. However, interestingly enough, the Falcon GT didn't roll out from its factory as a homologation special, but rather a road car designed for the roads. This meant that it was able to have good performance while retaining and adding luxury features too. For today's standards, yeah, it's not exactly very fast, producing around 270 brake horsepower from a 4.5 litre naturally aspirated V8, but it's certainly an Aussie icon, much like the HSV GTSR. Number 2, the Holden HSV W427. The daddy of all VE series HSVs, this will make absolute mincemeat of the GTS that Playground Games have brought in for update 25. Boasted as Australia's quickest, fastest and most powerful car ever created at the time, this limited edition collectible was fitted with an LS7 directly taken from the Chevrolet Corvette Z06, which churns out a whopping 504 brake horsepower from a 7-litre naturally aspirated V8 in a sedan. With only 138 examples of these around Australia, this would have been a surefire pick from me, even though it wasn't featured in Horizon 3. It does showcase Australia's finest, however, and it's a simple rehash model that can be taken from Forza Motorsport 7. Number 3, the Ford Falcon XR8. Look, if Playground Games is going to use this car as the null car, at least out of respect, bring the actual car back as part of the Horizon 3 throwback. I mean, the first time we have seen this car in the Forza franchise was back in Horizon 3, and it's really one of the last Australian-built Fords ever. As an XR8, this is the highest Falcon you can purchase, and Ford decided to go out with a bang by equipping it with a Boss 5-litre supercharged V8 that pumps out 449 brake horsepower, which is quite a respectable amount of horses. It's a shame that Playground Games left out Australian Fords in update 25. In my opinion, you have one chance to make a good impression, and honestly, having a second Aussie update similar to this one that we are getting won't go well with the community at all, even for myself. Number 4, the Joss JT1. With so many cars in Horizon 4 actually being revived or brought back from their previous gen titles like the Honda NSX-R GT, BMW GTR, and the Lamborghini Aventador J, just to name a few, I will admit it has been exciting to see. But here's one supercar that perhaps many forgot, which was last seen in the original Forza Horizon, and that is this Australian-built supercar. Built in 2010, this was a supercar that was literally made in the backyard of an Australian miner. It was designed to take on the likes of Ferrari, Porsche and Pagani, and also had its eyes set on the 24 Hours of Le Mans. equipped with an in-house built 6.8 litre naturally aspirated V8 mounted in the middle of the car. It pumped out around 500 brake horsepower, which was very impressive. And since the Australian miner was also an aerodynamicist, each panel of the vehicle was created to satisfy two purposes, which was nearly unheard of. 0 to 60 is achievable in 2.9 seconds, but unfortunately, due to lack of fundings, this car never made it into production. But this car would have been perfect to have brought back for update 25. Number 5, the HSV GTSR W1. If we are going to include the W427, then for sure this should have been a new car for the franchise in update 25. Now I get it, many of you guys are saying, well, there's a current pandemic going on, so no one can travel to model the cars. Well, here's the thing, most cars that have been brought into the game that are new to the franchise were modeled before the game was even released. I mean, take a look at the GTIR for example. This photo here was taken a month after Horizon 4 was launched, which is why I feel that update 25 was put together last minute and we as players can see it too. But the GTSR W1 was a send-off for the last HSV ever, paying homage to the 96 GTSR. They tried to capture the spirit of its predecessor. Unfortunately, I don't think it's quite as special as exterior-wise, it's too plain. Nothing screams in your face like the old GTSR did, but what does is the performance. Powered by an LS9 motor, the W1 outputs at 635 brake horsepower, which is easily classed as a super saloon. Man, I honestly wish Playground Games would bring this car into Horizon 4, as it is a true example of one of Australia's finest. Number 6, any Ford or Holden V8 supercar. Here are the racing cars that were once allowed in Forza Horizon 3. I remember all the great challenges I did with my good buddy Starkey, where we would compare the race car against its road-going counterpart. I don't know if it's a licensing issue, but bringing back an Aussie V8 supercar would have certainly spiced things up for this update. Not only would it have been unique to see an actual asphalt race car in the game, but every one of us has imagined at one stage what it would be like to drive an actual racing car out on public roads like it's an everyday car. It's a fantasy that Playground Games could have fulfilled with update 25 and possibly turn a very mediocre and lackluster update into a brilliant one. And number 7, the Brabham BT62. Just imagine in Forza's latest livestream that we saw this hypercar as their spotlight car for update 25. I can assure you that it would have made a lot of players happy, as let's face it, despite many of you guys want our everyday cars or sports cars, but majority of why we play Forza Horizon 4 is for those extravagant hypercars that we probably will never get a chance to drive or even see in real life. So for those who don't know, the BT62 is a track day hypercar that was built to commemorate 70 years of the company's founder, who began his racing career in Australia back in 1948. Seen in many other racing games such as Grid 2019 by Codemasters, this is how I essentially discovered this car, and upon further research, the BT62 can certainly hang with the best. Producing 700 brake horsepower from a 5.4 litre naturally aspirated V8 and weighing less than 1,000 kilograms, it has already entered in many FIA racing events at the beginning of 2019. With a total of 70 examples, this is one true Aussie unicorn that should have been at the forefront of the Australian throwback for update 25. So there we have it guys, 7 new or additional cars that I would have added for update 25, keeping with the theme of Australia and the Forza Horizon 3 throwback. What do you guys think about this list? Would you have been happy to have seen these cars along with the 3 that Playground Games included as an overall update? Let me know down in the comment section below. Remember, some of these cars are brought back from other Forza titles, as that is how most of the updates have been for Horizon 4. Are there any cars that you guys would love to bring back? Anyways, if you guys did enjoy this video, please make sure to smash the thumbs up button. That would really help me out. And lastly, if you guys would like to see more Forza Horizon 4 content right here on this channel, make sure to click the subscribe button with notifications turned on. That way you won't ever miss out on another video that goes live. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace.